Midnight's largest update is bigger than players realize. 12.0.7, they have done it. The comeback kid's talking about 12.0.7, all the content coming. Let's just jump straight into this one.
Okay, I don't think people understand how important patch 12.0.7 actually is for the future of World of Warcraft. Blizzard is very obviously experimenting again, and some of the things testing here could massively change the direction of modern WoW moving forward.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Some people were a little bit disappointed. I'm just pausing right out the gate here. The new zone, Val and Nagitel, being the heroic, or I should say like heroic world tier, functional zones. Some people were like, oh, why are they limiting it to 2 little zones? Why can't we have heroic world tier kind of like we did in Legion Remix? And I think we will. I think this is just a preview for that. I think this is their way of kind of, a soft release on it, make sure it works the way they want it to, is working as intended. And then we could eventually, surely see a world tier where it's like the entirety of the upper half of the Eastern Kingdoms, or whatever zones are current to the current expansion, they become heroic world tier zones. I definitely think that's coming. And then, Sporefall, Raid, Omnium Folio, lots of stuff coming in this. It's a 0.7 patch, but it's beefy.
We're talking about Blizzard testing harder open world content with actual rewards, mythic flex rating, ritual sites evolving into a real endgame system, and the
Edgar chat asks, when is this patch going to be live? It looks like June 16th. And that's not just like people, farting in the wind and picking that date. It's because we have the Midsummer Fire Festival, the Time Ways event going on, and the Troll Run. I forget what they call it. All that stuff's happening. It's already in the calendar on the PTR. So it looks like it's going to have to be June 16th because the Midsummer Fire Festival starts like that, the start of that next week. So that's probably when it's coming. That June 16th is a good date to mark on your calendar.
Outdoor world
but Blizzard
actually starting to matter again in a way we've never seen. So as somebody that genuinely loves World of Warcraft when Blizzard gets it right, this is the kind of stuff that gets me excited, and I think they could pay off pretty big. So in this video, I want to break down all the major systems, new zones, mythic flex, raid testing, heroic world tier, ritual sites, and just pretty much everything, and what this could all mean for World of Warcraft moving into the next season and beyond. So first up, we have probably the biggest thing in the entire patch, and that's going to be these new showdown zones alongside the heroic world tier. Now, this right here is where Blizzard starts getting really experimental. So in patch 12.0.7, we're getting 2 new mini zones called Val and Nightall. These are essentially void-controlled areas connected directly to the Void Storm, and the idea is we're pushing deeper into enemy territory instead of just defending against invasions like we've been doing all around Elwyn Forest and Zul'Amarr.
By the way, some people are like, oh, these are just the Legion zones re-released again. But they are bigger than the Legion zones were, so they've expanded on them a little bit, and I personally don't mind Blizzard recycling some older zones or content to give us new content. I think that's fine. If it means we're going to get more shit to do, then I'll do that shit.
At this point. Now, at first glance, these kind of look like your typical open world event zones, but the difference here is that Blizzard is tying actual meaningful progression to them. There's going to be rares, treasures, world quest, world boss, currencies, gear progression, and more importantly, an actual difficulty setting tied to all of this open world content. So when you enter these zones, there's going to be a menu similar to Delves and Ritual sites where you can choose between normal and heroic world tier. That means Blizzard is literally experimenting with scalable open world endgame difficulty for the first time ever.
An important thing that he said there is experimenting. I definitely think this is just the tip of the iceberg, mainly just the tip. That's what I always like to talk about. And it's really just a start of, I think, what they're going to try to do, which is work in this world tier content into the game. And I eventually even seeing it being like a world tier buff where they could make leveling even more of an adventure. Like right now, Classic, one reason why people love Classic is the Classic leveling adventure, right? It's difficult. You got to work. You got to use your rotations to kill even random mobs out in the world. And it's tough. It's not easy like retail is, which is really just kind of a mindless do the quests and level through. I eventually see this becoming like, hey, you want to level up in retail, but do it in a classic level difficulty? Here's Heroic World Azeroth World tier, right? Where it makes everything more difficult. I definitely think those things are coming. This is just the start.
Now, the second I saw this, I instantly thought back to stuff like Legion Assaults and even in Legion Remix with outdoor content and MMO progression where the world itself actually felt very dangerous.
Okay, I understand Hotstitude. You're saying, yeah, well, everyone's already out-geared this new world tier content. That's fine. They are offering a mythic piece of gear, though. Like, unless you're fully mythed out, there is one piece of gear at least you'll be able to get from this. this. They are offering a mythic piece of gear. And who knows? They might track it up to myth track tier too. Right now we have heroic and normal. They're starting out with that. They could give us a mythic tier of this as well in some sort of weekly update. Who knows?
Because let's be honest, for years now, the outdoor world in World of Warcraft has been something you just pretty much fly through in like 10, 15 minutes on whatever activity you do, and then you move on. So not only are these zones rewarding things like field accolades, champion and hero crests, key shards, and warbound gear, but there's also a new weekly world boss style quest tied to heroic world tier that rewards myth track loot progression. So suddenly players are going to be primarily enjoying.
It does let you select. Yes, it's going to give you, I think it's the options are a cloak, a belt, I don't want to say a ring, maybe. But it's 3 items, 3 myth track items. You will be able to select which item it is, yes.
Solo or outdoor content. They have a meaningful...
So by the way, keep that in mind. If you got vaults right now and you got a choice between like myth track boots or a cape or something, maybe choose the boots knowing you're about to get a cape from this quest as well.
Out for progression when it comes to champion, hero, and even potentially myth track gear when you get to that point. Not only that, but from what we've seen so far, these zones seem a bit more active than your typical kill one elite and leave style event. They're constantly spawning rares, treasures everywhere, rotating objectives, world quest, world boss tied to each zone. So instead of just being a one and done checklist, it feels like Blizzard wants players constantly around in these areas for a while, and I'm going to be honest, this is exactly the type of experimentation I want to see Blizzard do more of in these 0.5 and 0.7 patches, because if Blizzard can make the outdoor world feel dangerous, rewarding, social, and worth grinding again, that's a huge win for the future of the game.
Yeah, it brings the best of Classic into retail. That's where Classic has a step up on retail in a lot of ways, is the world just feels so relevant, so dangerous, so filled with adventure, you know? Danger around every corner. Oh, there's a cave here. I got to be careful. I can't just mount up and speed run through this cave. I got to take my time going around each corner because if I pull too many mobs, I'm going to die. Like, that sense of danger doesn't exist really in retail. It doesn't. So stuff like this could bring that feeling back.
You know what's wild is the older I get, the more I realize how easy it is for my money to just disappear without me noticing. Between subscriptions, random charges, business expenses, all of it tends to add up. And that's honestly why I've been paying way more attention to where my money's going. And that's why I'm excited to talk about today's sponsor, Rocket Money. I started using Rocket Money recently, and one of the first things it showed me was just how many subscriptions I had running that I just completely forgot about. I ended up canceling 2 subscriptions I wasn't even using anymore that were costing me way more.
I hope people don't download this, because then they're going to realize they're subbed to my OnlyFans account. And then where am I going to use my feet pics then? This isn't good. I don't like
more than I thought they were worth. On top of that, I actually caught a company charging me for stuff I literally never even received, which saved me over $100 just from catching it early. What I love about Rocket Money is that it gives you one place to see everything happening with your money top to bottom. It tracks subscriptions, organizes spending, helps you create budgets, and even catches stuff you normally wouldn't notice until way later, like it did for me. And when you're busy in your adult life, like I'm sure all of you are, saving time and money is one of the best things out there. So if you want to get a way better handle on your finances, go to rocketmoney.com/comebackkids to get started for free. You can also scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description below. I promise you guys, this app is literally life-changing within like 20 minutes of using it. If you want to save time and money, use Rocket Money. Huge thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to the content. We also got some updates when it comes to ritual sites because Blizzard is expanding the system a bit in the new patch. Now, if you didn't know already, ritual sites are a bit of side content where you can go in there solo or in a group, similar to delves. But beforehand, there are affixes tied to your run that are similar in style to things like horrific visions, just not as annoying or punishing. So first things first, ritual sites are getting a brand new tier 6 difficulty. And unlike before, where these mostly just felt like a fun little side activity, tier 6 is now directly tied into endgame progression and content in a pretty big way, because now you can get myth track crests from them whenever you want. And because you
and if you think about it, really, I mean, 3 of these runs gives you more than just 15 myth track crests, especially if you've got the gear already. You're also going to get 30 hero crests, which upgrade to another 15 myth track crests, which means, hey, so 15 plus 50, we do some math here, guys. That's 30. That means you can do 3 runs and get yourself 30 myth track crests. Oh my God. Yeah, get those quests, boys. Get those quests.
can do them completely solo and spam them. That means if you're someone who doesn't want to live inside,
that's like running 3 plus 10s, guys. Doesn't a plus 10 give you, or the plus 9 give you 10 Mythtrack crests or something? So I mean, that's shit. You're gearing out.
Mythic Plus, or you just want to do things alone or casually, you can actually...
That's 25, not 30. Did I say? No. 30 hero crests can be changed to 15 Mythtrack crests, and then you're also going to get 15 more Mythtrack crests just from the drops, because 5 of each of those 3 runs. 15 plus 15 is 30. All right, don't be fucking with me. Oh, it changes to 10? Oh, you're right. Damn it. I messed that up. All right, 25. My bad. My bad. As a man of the people can correct me. That's not a problem.
Completely grind and progress your character in the peak endgame entirely alone. Before this, of course, solo players were pretty limited on what they can do when it comes to progression and, you know, getting your Mythtrack crest and the final bit of endgame. But now this makes...
Mr. Funny, so happy I found this stream yesterday. Been loving it so far. Will definitely sell. Hey, when I can afford. You don't have to afford. Don't worry about it, man. Thank you so much for being here and watching. Appreciate it.
It's an actual solid route, completely solo if need be for you. Now, the way tier 6 actually works is you need at least 6 affixes active at once to enter in it, meaning these ritual sites are becoming a bit more difficult and chaotic
for sure.
than lower tiers. You're stacking all of these affixes and mechanics, scaling enemy difficulty, and then, you know, more things happen on screen at once and it starts to get pretty hectic. On top of that, the rewards are getting juiced up pretty heavily. You're earning more field accolades, more void light moral, hero crest, myth crest, coffer key shards, and everything goes way up pretty much.
I mean, if you think about it, you're also gaining, because you're gaining coffer key shards, you're getting those coffer keys, you're going to get yourself even more Mythtrack crests, especially if you've upgraded your Delver's Journey bar up to whatever tier it has to be able to get Mythtrack crests from those. So, I mean, man, this is like a gateway drug to Mythtrack crests. It really is.
This also ties directly into another massive change, which is the accolades vendor, because now instead of just gambling random gear on caches over and over, Blizzard is adding specific hero track slot caches you could target directly with field accolades, which is obviously a really good change. The RNG loot box crap they had before was ridiculous, so now we get this opportunity, which is great. Not only that, but there's also data for another potential ritual site coming later in Herondar called the Blinding Bloom, which could help keep the system fresh instead of just farming the same couple over and over again. Once again,
Mr. Funny, man, I told you didn't have to do that. Thank you so much for the sub. Death Knight of our Scourge. Oh, somebody gifted you. Oh, an anonymous gifter. Who is that person? Anonymous. There you go, Mr. Funny. You don't even got to pay. You just got a sub from the community. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that.
This is a solid direction Blizzard is going with this
Mr.
thing.
Anonymous.
I think ritual sites were a pretty big sleeper pick for this patch, and it's sad to see that it's sort of gotten like muddled down by how buggy everything was on the release. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of Horrific Visions and Delves combined into one, and I really hope they keep this coming around and expand on it leading into the future. Now, another thing Blizzard is experimenting with in this patch that could have a way bigger implications than people realize is the brand new Sporefall raid and the Mythic Flex testing attached to it. So first up, Sporefall, it's basically a one-boss raid taking place over in Herondar, where we fight Rotmire, a giant fungal void monstrosity. Now, the boss looks pretty cool, and there's cosmetics, mounts, random loot, and, you know, weird trinkets, all that fun stuff. So, not only is it really awesome that Blizzard's adding a brand new raid in the middle of the season,
the
but
gear
the
is
real
spore
reason
fused,
people are talking...
and it means it's like 9 item levels higher than anything you're currently getting from any track. That's pretty big. Is he going to say that right now? Maybe he is. Maybe this is pre-watched. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's precognition. Maybe I just know what people are going to say before they say it. Let's see what he says right now.
Talking about this raid is because Blizzard is finally testing something the community has debated for years, which is flexible mythic raiding.
Oh,
so for the first time ever, Blizzard is testing mythic raid scaling from 15 to 25 players instead of the strict fixed 20-man requirement we've had forever. Meaning, if you don't understand, mythic difficulty will dynamically change the scale and difficulty based on your raid size, similar to heroic and normal. Now, if you aren't aware, this is a massive deal. This could potentially change high-end raiding long-term if Blizzard commits to it forever. Now, one of the biggest problems with Mythic raiding for years has been roster management. It's been
this is a good thing. I think it's better for Mythic Plus or Mythic raiding. I just say release the unlock too, and we'll be all set to go here. This guy knew what he was gonna say, so he said what he was not gonna say because he pre-watched it. Unreal, unfucking real. I can't win. I can't win. So when I say what the guy is going to say, it's because I pre-watched it. And then when I say something opposite of what he was going to say, it's because I pre-watched it and I knew what he was going to say. So to try to prove that I wasn't pre-watching, I pre-said something before he pre-said something else. There's a lot of pre-pre's going on here. This is unreal. You guys, how about you guys? You're pre-accusing me of pre-watching. What about that? The fuck? I can't win.
Absolute nightmare trying to maintain exactly 20 really good players consistently every week. You know, somebody quits, somebody gets sick, somebody re-rolls, and, you know, suddenly you're either have to pug or, you know, your guild raid night is just sadly over. So Blizzard's finally stepping in and saying, you know, hey, let's test out Mythic Flex rating in a 0.7 patch, and I think it's an absolute W. Of course, I will say there's a lot Blizzard has to figure out before this could ever become permanent, which is probably why they're testing this on a one-boss mini-raid in a 0.7 patch. Still, though, the important part is that we're finally, you know, getting this experimental stuff. It could be an option moving forward, and honestly, just this alone is a very big deal, and I'm very, very excited for the future. Now, moving on from that, we also have some borrow-powered system in a 12.0.7 variant as well, called the Omnium Folio. And surprisingly, Blizzard handled this one pretty smart. I wouldn't say it's the most creative thing ever. Basically, it's a mini talent tree that gives your character passive bonuses over time. You unlock it through a short quest line, and then every week you slowly unlock more nodes and more power.
I mean, I said this. It's truly like it's like a soft nerf on all the content in Season 1. That's what this thing is. It's a soft nerf. Everyone's going to be more powerful. Everyone's going to be doing more damage or healing more, whatever you're doing, or tanking harder, or tanking while harder. I mean, that's the best way to tank, if you ask me. And this thing's going to just buff everybody. So everybody's going to be stronger. We're going to be so damn strong by the end of the season. It's going to be crazy.
For your character, stuff like extra damage procs, healing effects, absorb shields, secondary stat boost, movement speed, things like that. The big thing here is that Blizzard played this system very, very safe. Unlike systems from the past with borrow power where it just gets out of control pretty quickly, you're not, you know, replacing your entire sets of gear. It's literally just its own progression path on its own UI, almost like a mini artifact weapon system. The system itself definitely isn't the most exciting thing ever. It's just a little bit boring, if I'm being completely honest. Most of the system boils down to simply, you get stronger, your numbers go up. It just is what it is. Now, it's not a problem. It's playing safe. They're already taking enough risks as is, and they had to add some additional power for us in the 0.7 patch, which I'm not entirely against. Now, moving into the story side of the patch, Blizzard is very clearly...
Sam, how do you do a full day of work after getting roasted by your chat for 3 hours every morning? Well, you know what? I'm a schizophrenic divergent person at this point, thanks to you guys. Don't forget, not only do I get shit from you guys in the morning, I get to go to work and then check my comments section on YouTube where the shit continues, because a lot of you guys fucking anally leak over there. So now you're dropping your fucking pre-watched comments over there too, and all your other shit talk. And then you've basically infected the YouTube base, who also have now picked up on this shit, and now they're doing the same. So what do? I basically, like I said, I'm a divergent person at this point where I have two personalities. There's this one, which is probably the true one, and then I've got the other one that society sees, where I'm basically just a clear-headed, regular old-ass attorney. And my brain is essentially broken. I'd like to thank you guys for that.
Starting to set up patch 12.1 and the next major direction for Midnight. And if you're somebody that cares about Warcraft lore, you know, Trolls, Zolaman, or honestly just the overall world building of WoW, there's some pretty cool stuff here. So for this lore walking in 12.0.7, Blizzard is very obviously planting the seeds of the story for the next season. A lot of this new story content dives deeper into the origins of trolls and elves and the history surrounding Zolaman and where the story could be heading next. This has you revisiting places like Zul'Farrak, Zul'Gurub, the Sunken Temple, Darkspear Isle, and a bunch of other troll, related locations throughout WoW history. And this is the kind of content I love seeing in WoW. The Zolaman focus especially has me interested because, you know, it feels like we're bringing back those darker, ancient Warcraft vibes again, kind of like the First and Second War with everything going on there. And if Atu'la really does become, you know, the next major zone, like it's, you know, everyone's pointing toward that being the case, this patch is definitely going to do a solid job of building some hype early on. Now, on top of the new story content, we're also getting Dragonflight time walking in 12.0.7, which feels weird to say because Dragonflight somehow simultaneously feels like it was yesterday, but 5 years ago at the same time. Now, this new time walking rotation is bringing back dungeons, from, of course, Dragonflight, like Algathar Academy, Ruby Life Pools, and all this stuff is going to be great for gearing up alts and leveling them up, whatever the case may be. Not only that, because time walking leveling is super efficient, we also have the turbulent time ways adding.
Can I just say, I mean, the keys are being held the wrong way, and I'm never going to get over that. This is clearly a Kingdom Hearts play, and he's holding the keys backwards. You got to have the key facing this way. I mean, has nobody at Blizzard HQ ever played Kingdom Hearts? What's going on here? He's holding the keys the wrong way. He's holding the wrong part of the shaft, and he's reverse holding them. Unreal.
On top of that,
Missed
which can give you a
opportunity.
25% XP boost, as well as rotating rewards and cosmetics and stuff
They're
like
scared
that
of
as
Disney,
well.
maybe.
Meaning, we're probably going to get another stretch where alt leveling, gearing, and farming old rewards becomes insanely efficient for like 6 to 8 weeks straight. But then, because Dragonflight Time Walking being here for the first time ever, there's going to be a bunch of new mounts, cosmetics, toys, Dragonflight appearances we've never seen before, and recolors. So it's going to be really, really awesome to check out all this stuff, get some bonuses, and get all of this going. Now, lastly, we also have some smaller housing and UI updates that aren't exactly like expansion changing or anything, but they're definitely good quality of life changes. For housing, Blizzard is increasing the outdoor decor limits pretty substantially, adding over 100 new decor items, and most importantly, finally allowing outdoor lighting placement, which sounds small until you realize half the housing community has basically been begging for this since Midnight launched. On the UI side,
Really?
Blizzard is continuing this slow push toward making the base UI actually competitive with add-ons. The in-game damage meter is getting some more customization, which is nice, smaller sizing options, better visibility settings, and the personal resource bar is getting a ton of customization too, with scaling, opacity, class colors, separate resource toggles, all that kind of, fun stuff. None of these are like incredibly game-changing headline features,
They're all
but
improvements.
together they keep pushing WoW toward feeling more modern and customizable without a bunch of add-ons being needed to install into the game. Now, with all that said though, when it comes to outro and some, I would say basic concerns, I would say Blizzard needs to be a little bit careful moving forward, because while I love all the experimentation happening here in the 0.7 patch, there's definitely a world where some of these systems are just a bit too much. The biggest concern I have, just reward inflation.
I said this, our item levels and power scaling right now is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy for a season 1. So where do we go from here? I mean, we could only go up, right? They're not going to reverse course and, degrade our item level. So, I mean, where are we going to be by the end of Midnight? Pretty damn high. And then where are we going to be by the end of the last Titan? I don't know. We're getting a full reset of this game after that, because we're going to be insanely high. And we just had an item level squish and everything. So, yeah, we're scaling pretty quick right now. We are.
And it's just mind-numbingly easy to get rewards this season. I just think Blizzard is becoming a little bit dangerously too close to making parts of the game obsolete too quickly. First, for example, like
Frickin'
Delves
Doc.
and Prey, they're very exciting at launch, and I think they're excellent forms of content, and I want to do them longer. I want a reason to go inside of Delves and Prey. I want a reason to go inside normal and heroic raids. Like, I outscaled these forms of content in terms of gear score within 2-3 weeks of the season opening up. So I just think there's a ton of systems on top of that. You got the Void Forge, the Omnium Folio, the Ritual Psychs, Heroic World Tier, Delves, Prey, what do you call it? Field Accolades, Void...
Like I said before, Lura is basically holding the freaking line. She is like the one thing left in this game that's so difficult that even with all this item level power scaling and everything, she's holding people back from having everything they want. So Lura's doing, she's carrying, man. That chandelier is carrying. And eventually I think she's going to get nerfed and people will just flood through that gate as well. But right now, she is the one holding the line.
Moral. I mean, it sparks, it goes on and on. So I think we just need to tune it down with how many things we're getting, but increase the quality at which we get these certain things. I will say overall, though, I think patch 12.07 looks incredibly promising. I like the experimental stuff. I like the scalable outdoor progression, meaning, like solo content is an option. I like the flexible myth rating, and I think there's a lot of great things coming. More than anything, though, it finally feels like Blizzard's willing to take some risk on some things again, which has me excited. And for the first time in a long time, the game actually feels like it's evolving.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing or check out one of the videos you see on screen here to stay up to date on all things Warcraft. My name's Sky for the Comeback Kids. It's an absolute pleasure to make content for you all. I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, nice video overall. I mean, I think the summary of this is, damn, we're getting a lot of stuff in a 0.7 patch. That's for sure. And we're not only getting a lot of stuff, we're getting an increase in power again. Item levels are going to go up, power levels are going to go up, and we're just going to keep pumping out bigger and bigger numbers, and we're still in Season 1. So, I mean, what happens next? More of the same, I guess. We're going to keep scaling up. We're going to get to some big power levels for sure, and we're going to see some big numbers in this game before midnight's over. But so far, I think it's been a good expansion, good stuff, and I think this 0.7 patch, pretty exciting, considering it's just a 0.7 patch. We're getting a lot of stuff. So, nice video overall from the Comeback Kids.